Well, hello there, football friends. So, having returned from a 2 week stint in America visiting my brother Stephen Magee, Maggie, as he's fondly known, we spent a good 45 minutes during our 3 hour journey from Oak Island back to Charlotte. We spun the Wheel of Berba. We discussed all things football, all things family, all things football development. A real insight, and delighted to share Stephen's 30-year journey as he celebrates 30 years in America this October. So delighted to hang out with my big brother again, get to know the family, met a few new friends and my young nieces and nephews. So I hope you enjoyed this chat. I really enjoyed catching up, playing Keepie Uppies with a big brother. Remain awesome, football friends.
Keepie Uppies with Richie and Tots.
There you go. You're sitting in traffic. Turn your music down and we'll get a chat. So how many miles over from Charlotte?
About 60.
60 miles to go, 3 hours plus drive.
Yep.
Heidi, in the back seat, you want to give us your wisdom? No? Good. Alright, so you're celebrating 30 years in America?
30 years, August 10th, something like that.
August 10th.
9th or 10th or
1993 then, you?
93.
My goodness. I remember your leaving party in the Silverwood Hotel.
I remember it myself.
A lifetime ago.
It is a lifetime ago.
30 years. We'll spin the Wheel of Berba. See where it takes us, see what stories it takes. So your first spin, R&R, relive and regret. So one element of each. Is there one thing you would relive over your 30 years here? One thing you regret?
It's hard. Probably, I don't know, relive. Football related?
As you see fit. What's the biggest?
I don't know, and I always think like the lack of times that I do regret not going to a Premiership game when maybe I had the opportunity to or was in the vicinity to go see more live games. But obviously, as far as football, I'd always like to relive the 1999 treble, especially the Champions League, the last 3 minutes. Man United being 1-0 down, as we know, and then the 2 goals to win it and snatch it from Bayern Munich.
So where were you watching that when that happened?
We were at that time. It's a good question. I would have been in Greensboro, I think, still, and I know I watched it somewhere. Maybe Keegan's pub at the time.
As in Kevin Keegan?
It was named after Kevin Keegan, yeah, for sure. It was a good friend of ours, Mike Thorne, and Tammy Thorne owned the place, the local. And between watching Frank Bruno fights in the early 90s to, it was a good British contingent and a good soccer contingent that would have been there during that time. And lots of lads from the UNCG and lots of people in the community too, from the Greensboro Dynamo. So there's been a lot of soccer affiliation throughout the years, and I'm sure that was one of them. Fantastic. So eating and dining out, another spin of the wheel. Who would be them? Who would be the legends, or the people living or dead, that you would like to go out for a drinking date with or have food with? How many?
We'll go 2. What he's eating, what he's drinking.
I think we're eating steak. My Irish roots have me eating steak and potatoes, and that doesn't change. And unfortunately or fortunately, is a staple in our household. We actually like to grill a steak when the weather is good enough, and that time of year it'll be a Sunday night or a Saturday evening. So we'll go for steak and potatoes.
Nice. What's your sauce of choice?
Sauce of choice. I like that peppercorn sauce that you get back in Lurgan, to be honest. I remember getting it at the Silverwood Hotel back in the day.
Yeah.
Was it like a curry type sauce? But no, I would say that would go on top with onions and mushrooms. And just regular mashed potatoes or regular boiled potatoes, if you like.
All right. What's the drink of the day?
Drink of the day would have to be you'd have to be sophisticated and have a wee glass of red wine.
Nice. Giving your age away now.
I know. But who would I invite? It's cliche-ish, but you'd love to pick a brain of Sir Alex Ferguson. Obviously, we both know someone that was close to that, and I grew up with Pat McGibbon, and
Absolutely.
And I believe Sir Alex was the second cousin to Pat Senior. Might be wrong about that, but I know that obviously Pat Junior played for him, and just all the things that he achieved as a manager, and then modern day, I'm gonna go coach as well, and honestly, it'd be Pep.
Pep before Klopp, what?
Pep before Klopp. I just think Pep is in a league of his own. And listen, there's 4 or 5 of them that have done really well, but I just think he's taken it to a different level of vision and coaching.
Yeah.
And I think you can see that with the teams that he has now. Don't get me wrong, he's also got financial backing to get the players he wants, but I just feel from the outside looking in, I'd love to see it closer.
See how he sees it, how he thinks about it. He's innovations all over the field.
Absolutely.
Making fullbacks, midfielders, making midfielders drop in. It's winning formulas, no doubt. And do you reckon then he's got the hand in the Premier League for a few more years? Is anybody? Is Teg gonna?
I think that's Man United. Ten Hag
Has
done a good job quickly. Obviously, I think with a few more players that would be sustainable. I really enjoyed watching Brighton this past year. I guess De Serba, is that his name?
Yeah.
And
he took up the mantle from what do you call him? From Potter.
Yeah. And I think I've listened to a few podcasts, and your man Lachana there, was it Adam, the ex-Liverpool player?
Oh, Adam Lallana.
Yeah. He speaks highly of him. It seemed in one podcast that I listened to, and I see positive things that he's meticulous and has a different level, and I think they feel like they upgraded with him.
Yeah.
And maybe some of the football that Brighton played looked that way, but even Brentford and their coach and these so-called smaller clubs that are doing a fantastic job and playing some great football. I think it's really good to see, and then see people like Marco Silva with Fulham do the job that they did this year.
They seem to get the philosophy right and the culture right then at all. Like Brighton in particular, talk about the recruitment, the players they brought in and made players to be able to make the club sustainable.
I agree with that, and like I said, I listened to plug in some of their podcasts here. I listened to High Performance podcast and listened to the Brentford CEO, and there's different people that are on there. It's just educational from a director's point of view and from an administration point of view, how these clubs are run and why they're successful, and why if they go up or they go down from the Premiership to the Championship, that they're sustainable.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that you see now is the sustainability of a business plan in sports, that they're not losing millions upon millions of dollars, which
well, that's it. The tales that went before, Leeds United, Sunderland, teams that dropped out divisions, nearly went out of existence. And some they've learned from their mistakes.
Have indeed.
So if you and Pep and Fergie are sitting at the table, and the question, who's your ultimate five-a-side? The ruling's being we're not allowed to put in there Messi or Ronaldo, because everybody puts in Messi and Ronaldo. It has to be four legends, dead or alive, and one former teammate. So you're the manager. Again, your choice, goalkeeper or no goalkeeper, last man back, whatever suits. But
I'd probably do last man back. I don't think you can go wrong with Maldini. I was thinking about just all Man United players, but I just think the man was class. I think he oozed it. I think he could head it, he could kick it, but he could play. So I'm going with Maldini as a centre back.
What formation are you going with then?
No, I got 5.
You've got 5.
Go with 2-3. I go with 3 attackers, 2 defenders. One can drop in and be the back goalie. What is that, goalie on the fly? Let me see. Personally, can't look past Roy Keane. Again, engine, leader. Just what he did for Manchester United. And then when you can't look past Roy Keane, I'm going to go Eric Cantona as the creator.
All right.
And the aura of the group.
Man United strong so far.
And I could stay Man United strong.
You still have a teammate to put in there?
I'm such an admirer. I know I have a teammate. There's been many of them, many good ones. My best friend here in America and teammate at UNCG, Darren Powell. He's with Inter Miami right now. It could be that teammate. But I'm going to go back into the archives here. I wanted to honourable mention Darren would be there with me. But I'd go Liam Smith.
There we go.
Liam Smith would be brought in to get the banter going and bring the team together. And would have camaraderie and would have banter. And Liam, in his time, had a great work ethic and gave everything he had. So Liam Smith gets the nod over a few honourable mentions. Still have one player to get in, right?
Yeah.
It has to be a striker, doesn't it?
I would say so. Smitty's not playing up there.
No, Smitty will put a few people on their backside, but
him and Keane would be doing all that.
There you go. Striker that I admire is Harry Kane, to be honest. And there's other
it's
ones.
like a wish list, is it? Maldini and Harry Kane at Man United.
Honestly, I just think what he's done over the years, and again without Alan Shearer setting the tone, I just think Harry Kane developed his game and worked at it, kept going, and is where he is today. He's at Tottenham and England. I just think he's at a different level than what we've seen.
Do you think he will leave Spurs?
I just don't think it'll be for Man United.
No.
I
Alright, so it was Maldini, flag keeper, our last man back, Roy Keane, Eric Cantona, Liam Smith and Harry Kane.
Not bad.
That's not bad.
Bit of mixture there.
Bit of a mixture. I know it'll be a hell of a dinner party too, I would suggest.
It'll be good crack.
Brilliant. Alright, I'm going to pause while I think. Alright, so not the big debate, but a conversation for the masses. So the influence of Ted Lasso, does he reflect America in good light or bad light when it comes to coaching? Thoughts?
It's a good question. Good question. I think it's there for comedic purposes, and I think his colloquialisms or his sayings are very funny. I think he's not as many as sharp as him.
No, I think the writing is fantastic, as you say. Even and to be able to cross the lines of the two cultures and make it work and twist is absolutely fantastic.
I think someone like Jesse Marsh going over there and taking Leeds United. And I know what's his name was there at Swansea City beforehand. I can't think of his name. Bob Bradley.
Yes.
And obviously Jesse Marsh has been in Europe and done a good job. And to be honest, as I consider myself probably an American coach.
Yeah. Well, your qualifications say so.
My qualifications say so, but I feel we were definitely pulling for them and hoping they would, make an impact. And listen, I don't think either of those men have lost respect. I think obviously they've gained the experience, and wherever Jesse Marsh ends up, I'm sure he'll be successful. And obviously Bob Bradley has come back to the USA, to the MLS.
Where is he at now?
And I'm not sure. He may be with LAFC, or he was with one of those teams, or he may be out of it now. But I haven't followed him as closely as we've followed Jesse Marsh in the last little bit, and his Red Bull ties and his high energy, and I thought he was a great replacement for Bielsa, and I think he'd give it a go. So, but the old Ted Lasso is fantastic, and I enjoy the comedy. And like I said, you said the writing, but no, I think it's been interesting as far as the comparisons and the memes and the jokes that go on about it. But there is, believe it or not, some very astute and smart coaches that I have worked with, and obviously I've had the pleasure of listening to in different environments and learning from. And I think one of those that I can't speak highly of is Greg Berhalter, who's just been reinstated as the US men's national team to lead the way for 2026. And it's a very, very good group of players as well.
Yeah.
But we had the privilege of him coming to our club about a year and a half ago, and speaking to our coaches, and we spent an evening with him, and it was his insight to the game and his knowledge, and I think he's the right guy to take the US forward for 2026, and obviously I'll be supporting them, and we'll go from there, as well as Northern Ireland and England, and any of the teams that we watch the players play, mostly in the Premiership or the Scottish League. So Ted Lasso, 10 out of 10 for me.
10 out of 10. So you're talking about your club. So for anybody that doesn't know, give us a rundown just of your club, what it's all about and what your role is.
So I am a director of coaching at Charlotte Soccer Academy in Charlotte, North Carolina. I have been in the same role for 5 years. I am the ECNL regional director. On the girls' side, that is the second level of girls. On the boys' side, it is the third level. And basically, I work with other directors in other sections of the club to try and put the best teams together that we can after our national programs. So I feel like I work closely with 5 or 6 other directors. I have 24 teams in the program overall. I have Matt Denton and Stephen Chaconis who run the North program, and then myself, I run the South program for 13 to 19-year-old boys and girls, and it's pretty vast. We have younger boys and girls all season, all year round, 13s and 14s, and then once you get to 15, the seasons are split. The girls' season's in the fall, the boys' season is in the spring. And so me as the director, I take 2 girls teams and 2 boys teams, and they overlap a little bit in the winter, but basically in their off season they play high school soccer, and that's a big deal. for that. So, but now we've had quite a bit of success over the last 3 or 4 years at the regional level. Last week, I think today is like June 22nd or 23rd. Last week we had 5 regional champions from our club, and in the past we've had 3 or 4, and so we've got strong teams. We compete, but I think the biggest thing is we try and teach them all facets of the game, playing out of the back, when not to, and we certainly have a philosophy as a club that we stick to, and we have a really good. We have different coaching educators within the club that help the coaches, perform better or perform well. But also, we have most of our coaches have grassroots backgrounds. They qualify and they do their testing at the state or local level, and a lot of our coaches have played, which sometimes can be a positive, sometimes can be a negative. Who knows? But we basically continue to develop young people through soccer. And I think that's one of the biggest things that you'll find from the top of the club to the 19-year-olds all the way down to our 5 and 6-year-olds. And I feel we have the right people in the right places in the club to continue to grow, to continue to compete at the highest levels, but also to continue to provide a soccer environment for all kids. And again, some of the philosophies are within that. And I enjoy where I am in the club, what level I'm at in the club, and it allows me also to see my kids play. And they're in our club. I've got 3 that play out of the 4 that I have, and I think that's important that you get to support them on their journey as well.
Oh, brilliant. It all sort of rings true. It's very, as you say, you're developing people as well as footballers, and using football to get these kids in and get them through life is fantastic. I'll say competing at the highest level where possible. Participation, all them ethoses that are prevalent in what we're doing for Oxford Sunnyside and Lurgan, but yours is obviously a grand scale.
I think it's amazing that it has been 30 years, and I see my 2 brothers run a club or help run a club and are staples in the community, and for me it's like we're cut from the same cloth, and it's amazing that I'm doing something here that you are doing over there, and I do it full time, and it's my full-time job, and obviously I take pride in that, but I see the pride that you guys take in doing what you're doing as volunteers, and put so many hours into really, what is it? We're developing young people.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part there for me, which maybe we're destined to be involved in some way, and obviously.
For us, it's believing the club in a place where Heidi, who's playing, where Matthew, who's playing, the club's still going to be there in 25 years for them to play as well.
Right.
And the beasts that they are too, they're already wanting to coach and encourage younger ones as well. So it's just giving back to the community all the time, having that purpose in place. It stood me well as a kid, so offering that stimulation and platform to everybody else. It's a win-win.
It is indeed.
It's a win-win. So your involvement with junior football, is that where you found your love? You have touched base with senior football here in the States for a while, college level and senior. How was that for you?
I enjoyed it. I was the assistant coach at UNCW. Is probably one of the best jobs I ever had. Working with a friend of mine who's still a friend, and I actually attend the camp. Coach Aidan Heaney. I go to his camp every summer I can go, and really it's to hang out and catch up. and then coach a few kids. But we hang out and we catch up, and there's other people in our little group that do the same, and we're always happy to do that. But I then went to Eckerd College in Florida for 4 years, was the head coach there, enjoyed it. Didn't enjoy, when I was doing that, I was always coaching youth in the community that I was in. So it was Wilmington Hammerheads, Cape Fear at the time, and then Strictly Soccer was the group in St. Petersburg, and working with Hans and Chad Burke there, and always enjoyed that. And so when it came down to it, and I had a chance to come back to Charlotte and be a director of coaching for a youth club, and that was Charlotte United, I took it with both hands again, because in my early career that's what I did.
Yeah. And
really I feel my niche is in the 13 to 19 age group. Brian, our older brother, works with the little stars. What age is that? 5, 6?
5, 6.
And that takes a special person to do that, and I just find that I'm stronger with 13 to 18, 19. And then, like I said, I did the college stuff, and really the distraction there is the academics have to match the soccer actions.
Yeah.
And then you have 18 to 22-year-olds, and maybe a little bit of a different mentality at that age. And like I said, I enjoyed pushing kids and getting kids to that level. And really, when I got there, like I said, I enjoyed my time with Aiden. And then just things changed, really. Life changed. More kids came along. And so I found that my passion was more so developing these kids to get to the next level, more so than when they got there and they thought they'd made it. It's a different mentality. So I really enjoyed my time in Florida, and I've learned a lot, and feel I'm better for it now. So
absolutely, that word development, I think that's the key word. It's the mantra that our club at home have sort of hooked onto, because it is all development. Coaches as well as players are all growing and developing at the same time. And sometimes it takes you to deal with another group to realise what you got to do to succeed, or become better. We're always educating, but development, it's not about going out there and winning. You're always growing, you're always developing. What is the philosophy similar here with the age brackets, where as you say, up to 13, under 13, is it not non-competitive, but it is key is development, or is there a will and a want to?
I think even in my program, I mean, obviously at the top levels of any program, if you're developing the players right, you're going to win games. Yeah. But there is, winning is important, and I think you can teach kids to win. Your practices, and you can teach them to be competitive. But really, my goal is, can I push a kid from my level in my program to the next level?
Yeah.
To if it's boys, can they move up to the ECNL national? If it's girls, can we push them forward? And for me, that's success. And that's what I'm looking at. I don't feel that we put pressure on our coaches to win, but I do feel they understand that, who the club is, what reputation we have, and really what we would want to do is we want to win, but we want to win the right way.
Yeah.
And I think that's by developing the players and teaching them, like I said, all facets of the game. We do at 9-10 years old, we want kids trying to play out of the back. Well, you're not going to be able to play out of the back if you don't have the technique. Yeah. So there's obviously more focus.
You've got to develop that, absolutely.
Exactly. There's more focus on technique, and really through coaching education, it's ages and stages. And we feel we have a staff, especially the staff at the top of the club, that basically, first of all, can put on sessions. Yeah. Second of all, we've got some great coaches in our youth academy, our 9s and 10s, and even below that, our little junior academy. You've just got good starting points, and then you have a club that's joined together that has so many coaches at different age groups that you're able to funnel them, hopefully, to the right places. Yeah. With the same philosophy. We do try and play through the thirds. We don't just punt it every time the keeper gets it. And I think that there's directors in place that oversee the coaches that make sure that doesn't happen, and that again we try and teach them all facets, all ways and how to play, and but certainly again it's about developing, and the ages and stages of that is what we find is key.
You mentioned about having some of your better coaches at the younger age. Do you think that's you're setting the?
Yeah, I think that's. I think we have some really, really good youth coaches that like our brand have the patience to do that. Yeah. And are really good at breaking the game down. And I think that love of the game and making it fun as well keeps them involved. And I think that's a really special trait that some of those coaches have. That, like I said myself, I'll make it fun, but it's with older kids and dealing with older people, and I think those things are the fun aspect. Sometimes we forget about that, when it does come, and it's so structured at times that sometimes a little bit of non-structure. Just roll the ball out once in a while and let them play. Absolutely. And I think we do forget that, and I do too, and I try and remind myself as much as possible that this should be fun, no matter what.
I suppose that's a question I've always asked. Can you be overcoached? Can there be too much coaching?
100%.
I see it quite often where you're firing all this information at kids of a certain age, and maybe it's poor coaching technique or something, but sometimes you just gotta let them play. Just go and play, and as it rolls out, they learn from their own mistakes. Without the supervised sort of play and the supervised. Right. There needs to be more, probably at a younger age. It needs to be, people need to be aware that it's just let them play, unsupervised. Or
what does this guy do?
I just feel it can be an element of overcoaching or feeling like you have to coach all the time, when sometimes just letting it play is where you'll draw more benefit.
Yes, I totally agree with that. No, I do. I agree that they need to just play. And again, the structure of it, sometimes I call it joysticking. Yeah. Especially in the game where the coach is kicking every ball, and really what we want to try and develop is problem solvers. And I think that's more so in our player plan for the development of those players is what do we want to produce here at 11 years old? What can they do? What do we want to produce at 14, 15? And really one of the words that we come up with is, can they solve problems on the field? And obviously, where are how technically proficient are they? How tactically proficient are they? And obviously that's on the coach as well. Yeah. And what they're teaching at that stage. But again, problem solving always comes up. Can you solve problems? Can you organize? Can you play? Can you, in tight situations, do X, Y, Z? How's your ball striking? How's your first touch? So on and so forth.
Oh, brilliant. Again, there'll be boys listening here. I know that boys that are popping into my head who are on that same path I am as a coach and as a mentor and as involved in a club, to see that what we're trying to put together is being done at higher levels, at different levels all over the world. So we're all part of the same movement, and it's reassuring, to hear from a coach with your experience that what we're trying to implement and schooling ourselves and bringing the kids along with us is refreshing.
I think schooling yourself, is really important, and I think that I work best with people that are open-minded. Yeah. That they know there's more than 10 ways to skin a cat, if you like. Yeah. But also, I am not the complete article. I do not know everything. I have my strengths and weaknesses. And I think for me, figuring out what those strengths and weaknesses are helps me navigate the coaching world and helps me navigate and be better as a coach. And who better to make you better is the players that you have. And I learned so much from them just as young people. Yep. And I feel I feel in the last few years, as I get older, they keep me younger, but I also feel if I have more of a connection to them, that, maybe just outside of soccer, what's happening at school, just 5 minutes, go through the group and, find out what's happening. Maybe you'll learn a bit more, and I think maybe you'll win a bit more. You have to take a little bit more interest in that player or that person or that team. And I think those kind of guidelines is just go the extra mile. And I think that's something that I've always done subconsciously. But now I'm more conscientious of, hey, Jake or John, who's, what's going on? I haven't seen you in a night or two of practice. Or, hey, I heard you did really well at school in cross country, or different activities that you kind of talk to them about. And I think just getting to know the kids, getting to know the young men and the young women as well, that it's important that you take a kind of a complete look at the person instead of just that hour and a half that you have them on the field. So I think that's certainly something that's helped me in the last few years.
Even as a player for yourself, I'm sure there's coaches that had that element of philosophy that you hold dear, and you've took them traits into your own approach. Joe Magee being one, I would suggest. One who me and Heidi, who's sleeping in the back of the car here, Joe was delighted that he was managing his own ladies team or girls team.
Absolutely. And
when he realised who Heidi was, he was said bellowing, "Oh, Maggie, ask Stephen, how is he? How's he doing? Tell him I'm asking about him."
I was watching the. Obviously, I follow all parts of Irish League soccer, and obviously, I saw Rodney's gone back. Rodney Magee, who I played with growing up, Joe's son, and Joe used to take us halfway across the country to anywhere and any place, and would do anything for us. He dropped me off in Lurgan many's a time.
Yeah.
But I feel like Joe put a good background in there, instilled some good things as a young coach or as a young man playing. And obviously I see Rodney coming home to Dungannon Swifts, and I know Joe's doing the Dungannon United thing, and follow that even through you.
Yeah.
And I think the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, as they say, with Rodney going back there. And I listened to his interview on his return, and he says a lot of things that we're talking about here too.
Yeah.
So, definitely Joe would have been up there, and obviously you can't mention Joe, and you're from Lurgan, you have to mention Bunker McGuinness, who got it all started.
Absolutely. Well, he's been mentioned a brave few times on this podcast. People keep asking me to reach out to him. Bunker said he's a shy and retiring man away from the football field.
He is indeed.
But no, he's definitely the Pied Piper. I think it was Kevin McLaughlin had referenced him, where he just had a bag of footballs over his back, and there the great and the good from Lurgan would have been following him, whether it was Anhill Park or wherever it was he was coaching.
Absolutely.
And then you talked about Joe Magee and the players that have been under his tutorship. Bunker the same, you included. Like the list of players that have come from Lurgan and went and done great things. Obviously Neil Lennon would be an example. Pat McGibbon, Jay Taggart.
No,
quite a few. I'm sure you could name a brave few more than me.
some good podcasts with those fellas on them.
Yeah,
All of
absolutely.
them, for different reasons. For different reasons.
Pat's another man. He's a busy man. He's doing his own wonderful things.
He is indeed, and I follow. I guess it's Trained to Be Smart.
Yeah.
TTBS.
TTBS. Yeah.
And I follow it from a distance, and I see what Pat has done and what he's trying to do, and I love his ethos, and I love everything about it. And I know obviously his brother is a big part of it, Philip, and Philip used to take us to football again when we went to Portadown, and between Philip and Sheena and just the family, the McGibbon family as well. They were all good to us, and looked after young men trying to find their way in the world. And in some ways, I feel even what I do now is parts of that comes from what they did for us. And it's serving other people.
Absolutely.
And but yeah, no, Pat's top man.
Fantastic.
What it is.
Alright, so you've been away 30 years. So tell me, what is it you miss about home? Apart from your little brother now and a drive from fucking Oak Island to Charlotte.
What do I miss? It's not what I miss, it's what I remember. I remember playing freaking 5 or 6 games on a weekend, starting on a Thursday. Between Gaelic football and reserve team football and youth team football and pub football. And anyway, there'd have been a few games, and I think that kept me busy as a young fella, which was not a bad thing.
Kept you out of trouble.
Did indeed. And then I just miss sometimes I miss the banter, but I'm around enough English boys and Irish boys and Scottish boys that, you know, there is good banter, and there always has been. You know, and I enjoy the banter, and I enjoy a good laugh and a joke. Maybe the Saturday putting a bet on, or things you did. We don't get to do that. Obviously, there's no betting unless you go to Las Vegas.
Right.
And that only happens once every 25 years. I've only been once. And once was enough for a while. But no, I mean, you know, obviously friends and people. You miss them more than anything. And, you know, with how social media is now, it's a lot easier to talk to brothers and sisters and family members, but at the same time, we've all got lives of our own that intertwine in some ways and don't. And I think you know, with COVID and all that stuff, made the world a little smaller, I felt.
Absolutely, great.
And you know, we did some things as a family that was good during that time. Quizzes and, you know, just getting on board with the Zoom culture. But no, obviously, those things, when I came 30 years ago, I didn't have a phone. Cell phones just came around that time, and you'd have a phone in your dorm room, and it cost you $2 for a minute. And I'd have my ma asking me, "What's the time difference?" And then
Every time.
Yeah, it'd be like 5 hours, and then 10 years later, it'd be like, "Well, so what time is it there?" You know, so I enjoyed that banter. But no, just I guess the technology made things smaller. But no, just the people more than anything. I enjoyed what I do. I was a bartender, and I worked at a hotel growing up, and again, just the amount of people and different people that were kind of staples. But I followed football from afar. I followed the Irish League, obviously, the Premiership, and I followed different people's careers. And the fact that I'm still doing football at 48 years old is something I'm proud of, and something that was instilled into me in Lurgan. And going back to my Uncle Davey, taking me to the Brownlow Rec, and to Bunker McGuinness, to Joe McAree, to Barry McCullough, Portadown, to Ronnie McFall, and Kieran Harding, and different people that were involved along the way. That you got a little bit of something from each of them, you know. And obviously, for me to be doing this, and you know, I enjoy it. I love it. I'm blessed to do it. I'm lucky to do it. And yes, I miss people that have helped along the way. And but obviously, it's a different lifestyle now and a different way of living. But it's still a soccer way of living or a football way of living. And that I'm proud of. I'm proud of where I came from. And, proud of those people that are still friends with me on Facebook and will contact once in a while. And you know, obviously, I feel like I'm a sociable person and here to help people in any way I can. And I think that part is, you know, yes, family, right? Absolutely. And that goes to families, not just your brothers and sisters. It ends up being all those people that took you places or did things for you, or you know, you're willing to help in any way. So maybe it's a long-winded answer, but hopefully a good one.
Absolutely, it's fantastic. Fantastic. Well, I'm going to allow you to enjoy the rest of the journey home, and thank you for your insight. Again, it's been 30 years has went in a blink, but delighted to be able to spend the second week of the 2-week visit to get a feel for your lifestyle and celebrate you and your family and our family.
Well, indeed.
So remain awesome.
football friends.
Keepie Uppies with Richie and Tots.